Guys, more news has came out about a potential NBA return, as well as Damian Lillard has made a bold statement.
If the NBA resumed the season with a limited number of games, Blazers guard Damian Lillard said he isn't playing. The five-time All-Star said he wouldn't play in meaningless games.
All right, guys, so a couple days ago, Damian Lillard made a comment about not wanting to play if it didn't mean anything. So I brought in Zack. We're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to look at like the whole NBA versus the NBA's Player Association, and also discuss a potential play-in tournament or group stage. Zack, how are you? Welcome in.
I'm good. How are you?
So what were your thoughts? Like, Damian Lillard makes this comment, you know, not just a random, but this is Damian Lillard, superstar Damian Lillard, one of the best players in the NBA. What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was, it's granted, it's like warranted. Damian Lillard is, like you said, one of the better players in the league. Famously known for the wave and the person who killed the Thunder.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good at the buzzer!
Trailblazers were they're 3.5 games back of the 8th, and they originally had, they thought that there was a chance that they're going to play 5 to 10 games once the season comes back. And so the Blazers could easily get into the playoffs then, right?
Yeah.
And now for the NBA to make money, they have to get to 70 games, and the lowest team is at 67. So it's only 3 games now they have to play. So with 3 games left, 3.5 games
doesn't make
back,
sense.
They can't do it.
Yeah.
So Dame went out and goes, well, there's no point in me playing if there's no chance of making the playoffs, because that's the thing that a lot of players and people are worried about now is everybody's been off for a while.
Exactly.
Nobody knows how healthy they are, and you just go full out into it, that could cause a lot of injuries.
Oh, exactly. So, huge risk for injuries.
I wasn't as shocked as a lot of people were when Dame said that. So it's his body, his choice. How a lot of people always say people rest back-to-backs and all this and that. It's just another situation like that in my eyes. Because as an athlete, especially professional athlete, you have to look at your body as a company and as a brand. And what's best for that company is, after 3-4 months off of going hardcore for games that don't even mean anything and potential injury, and then ruining your career later on, or just sitting those 3 pointless games out.
And Damian Lillard, I know it was months ago, but he got injured right before the All-Star. He missed the All-Star break because of injury. So, he's already dealt with injury throughout this year. So then, Zack, catch us up, because there was news today about a potential group stage and how, I think it's 4 or 5 teams that are fighting for that kind of 8th seed, like Zack said, in the West, could have kind of a group stage for a play-in to get into the, NBA playoffs. And Damian Lillard, did he make a comment? You said he came out and said something?
Yeah, Damian Lillard about the play-in games for the Western Conference, mostly. I don't know if it's for both conferences or just the Western, because the Western, between the 8th seed, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, are all separated by 4 games or less.
Crazy, man.
So, that's just the whole point where Damian was oh, it's pointless, but there's reports of a playing series and all that. I don't know the exact logistics of it. I'm assuming maybe those 4 teams would do or 5 teams would do a type of mini tournament.
Who's the 8th seed right now?
The Grizzlies are 8th.
Okay, the Grizzlies are 8th. Blazers,
Portland,
Kings, Pelicans, and Spurs?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Portland.
Go ahead. All you.
Portland, the Pelicans, and Kings are all tied at 3.5 games back of the Grizzlies. So it's not like you can be just the Grizzlies and the Blazers play for the 8th seed. All those are the exact same part. So,
dude, could you imagine if this somehow led to a Zion Williamson, LeBron James first round? I know that's what obviously the NBA wants, and I think everyone wants. It's also interesting because would this count as keeping Popovich's playoff streak alive? Would this if they got into this kind of play-in group stage type deal?
I don't know if the play-in stage would, but if they went on and won it, then obviously it would continue. But Popovich, that's also another thing. Like the NBA likes to preserve like streaks like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Papa,
Another one
I
is the
can't-
Kings. The Kings haven't made the playoffs in, what, 15, 20 years? How long has it been since they've been in the playoffs?
A while.
I don't
Like,
know.
I mean,
Dude, it's interesting.
yeah, like I in my entire lifetime, I don't think I've seen the Spurs not make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it right now.
21 years.
It's
I
a
think like
14-year
22.
playoff drought for the Kings. So they haven't made the
Okay.
playoffs in 14 years. How long has it been for the Spurs? I feel like you said, dude, since I can remember the Spurs have been in the playoffs, but this will be really interesting to see what happens. Like Zack said, the Eastern Conference is, a lot easier to kind of digest, but this Western Conference, there's a lot of teams that if they just called it here and they didn't play any more games, would get totally screwed. And I'm with Damien on the idea of playing 3 or 4 games when you realistically do not have a chance of making the playoffs. Like, why even put yourself out there? Why not just rest and get ready for next year? So I am interested to see how that goes. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Zach?
Well, there's reports that NBA is considering that 24 team kind of like
Oh my gosh,
COVID
insane.
Cup that like the NHL
Oh my
has
gosh.
agreed upon. And I wanted to get your take on that because if they do that, then the Bulls
would get in.
would make it
Wow.
as the 12th seed. They're in the same situation as the Blackhawks. They would be the 12th seed
Oh my gosh.
in the East. So I want to get your take on what you would like if you had to choose between the 16 team like reseeding, like how that's a possibility with that play-in for that Western, or just a 24 team like best records, like kind of like COVID Cup like, for the NHL. Which one would you prefer?
I mean, biased, I have to say. Anything that gets the Bulls in the playoffs would be fun. Hopefully we can fire Boyle in before that. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to see him out there coaching. But either way, dude, like, just get me basketball back. It's one of those things where what about you? I mean, obviously you're a Clippers fan, so you're going to be in the playoffs regardless. But what would you look forward to?
I mean, I personally like the whole everybody's calling it the COVID Cup, but like the playoff format that the hockey, the NHL has come, in theory, like that could be insane absolutely amazing to watch. And so, I mean, you look at it and it could be like that though too, like for the NBA. And I don't know, like I saw like the potential seedings for the 1 through 16, like no Eastern, no Western Conference.
Oh my gosh.
The Clippers kind of have an easier path.
Who would they play in the first round?
First round,
Either way, Zach, as you're looking for that, can we just take a moment and talk about this? This is, we'll never see something like this again. Like in terms of like the way, like these sports, like the hockey cup that Zach talked about, that was, pretty much agreed upon as if hockey can return. Like
the format was agreed upon.
The format was agreed upon. Exactly. If they can,
it's just when and where they would be able to play.
But I don't think we'll ever see that format again. Like this is a once in a lifetime. Like Zach said, like dude, this NBA deal, it just could be absolutely insane.
The Clippers would play the Mavericks, which we're undefeated against, I think.
That would be a fun series. I mean, I think you guys would easily win it, but Luka and, Porzingis.
And then we would play the winner of the Celtics and Sixers to go to the finals, like the conference finals.
Oh, wow. That would be so wild. I can't even, fathom. When you said that, I just, can't even fathom the idea of, them meshing up the Eastern and Western Conference. But
I mean, that's what everybody's wanted, and so if best case scenario, they take the COVID Cup that they're doing with NHL and mesh it with the combining conference, no seeding.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That would be unbelievable.
So the top 4 teams in the NBA, no if, ands, or buts, they're the top 4 teams. So the Bucks, Lakers, Raptors, Clippers, the 4 seeds.
Okay.
And then the next 20 teams battle it out in that play-in round. Imagine something like that.
That, like you said, everyone's asked for that because of the idea that the Eastern Conference was so much easier to get through over the past 8 to 10 years. The idea of them meshing it all together would be absolutely insane. I feel like we could get some crazy matchups, dude. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just looking at the standings. the Magic would make the playoffs and would be in there. Trailblazers would.
I mean, it makes sense if they had all of them in one like hub. If they had them all in Orlando, like it makes sense. Why not just combine the conferences?
Yeah, and like combining conferences and either do that 16-team reseeding or the 24-team with the COVID Cup scenario where it's best of 5 and then it's best of 7 from there on out.
So my question to you, Zach, is do you think they'll pump fake crowd noise into the games?
I don't know. I don't know. Did you watch the Bundesliga?
I did, and I liked
Bayern.
I did. I liked
Dortmund.
that. I enjoyed that more than I think it was like a Bayern game I watched last week where it was just completely quiet, pretty much, except for the players.
Was the that wasn't aired in the stadium, right?
No, I think it was like someone correct me if
Just
I'm
over
wrong.
TV.
It was over TV, exactly. I'm 95% positive. Somebody can correct me there if I'm wrong.
Like that was better because I mean, like you said, like we both watched that Bayern game like 2 weeks ago where there was nothing at all.
Yeah.
You just heard like the whistle and like the bench a little bit. So as long as it's not in the stadium, I'm fine with that. Like, but you'll need something because, or else it's just gonna sound like an AAU.
I completely agree. Yeah, they're gonna have to do. They're gonna sort it out. You know, they have to do something because, like you said, we're just gonna hear like the squeaking of sneakers, and like you said, it's gonna sound like an AAU game.
And like especially with I don't know about. Closest one that we have to coming back is hockey, and I don't know if they would do that or not because if they do hockey, it's you can hear the hits louder,
exactly,
and everything. So we'll see.
Yeah, okay, we'll see, guys. Again, Zach, thank you so much for coming on. I will leave his link down in the description. Let us know what you guys think. What team do you support? And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Peace.